Alright, what I'm going to do in this video is go through how to add the reference shelf titles. And so this is a standing order. We pay $345 a year and we get 6 titles. And so here's the different titles that we get. The one we're adding right now is alternative facts. And what I did to arrive at the price for each of these is I just divided 345 by 6 and got 57.50. So if we go to Alma and we pull this up by the ISBN number, you'll see that it's being held by 2 other institutions. What we're going to do is click Order, and we're going to select the purchase type of standing order, print book, which is right here, and then PO line owner is Hightower, and we're going to create PO line. And we're going to enter the material supplier, which is H.W. Wilson. We're going to enter the price, and we're not putting a discount in. We're going to click Add Fund, and we have a standing order fund that we use here, and this shows you how much we allocated for standing orders this year and how much money we have left in the fund. So select standing orders and click Add Fund. Select Manual Packaging and select your reporting code. And for each of the titles in the series, they're on different topics. So just pick a reporting code that kind of matches that topic, and we'll select Political Science. You want to have manual renewal selected. You don't need to enter a subscription from or subscription to date, but you probably want a reminder in a month that the item is going to need to be renewed. And then enter a renewal date. And we're going to use July the 20th. And there really isn't anything to review at this point. We know the list price, and we're not going to be adding multiple purchase order lines at this time and packaging them into a PO like we normally do. So I'm going to click Save and Continue. I did this a couple of times, and I canceled the order when I was doing the video, so that's why you see this message here where it says canceled and canceled. We're going to click on Confirm. Okay, so it created the purchase order line 514. What I've been doing is normally you create a bunch of purchase order lines and then you package them into a purchase order that matches what you submitted to Gobi. But I haven't been waiting until we receive all of the reference shelf titles before I package them onto a PO. So all of them are just getting packaged onto a separate PO. So at this point, I'm just going to click on Package. And here's the one that we just did. So we're going to click on Create New PO. And I've been leaving the PO number as is. So this is what Alma assigns it. And you'll notice that the PO is, it doesn't follow our convention for naming POs. And so that's good in a way because they stick out on the reports, and you can identify the ones that were standing orders because it's just going to say PO hyphen and then like a 4-digit number. So we're going to leave that alone. It is indeed 57.50, and so we're going to go ahead and do Save and Continue. And so what you see here is another one of the titles in that set. This is South China Sea conflict. You'll notice you've got an order line. That was the that was the PO order line. The purchase order again is that 4-digit number that Alma assigned it. And you'll notice that there's no invoice line because I haven't put all of the 6 titles on the invoice yet. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another one of the issues that we received. I'm going to add the June issue, and then once I have all of them received, then I'm going to add everything to the invoice. So again, here's the one that we just did. You see the order name that it gave it. It says sent, and then the order line says waiting for manual renewal. So that's okay for right now. And now I'm going to add the next title, which is the June 1 U.S. National Debate topic, and then I'm going to create my invoice for all of the 6 titles that we received this year. So this is the June issue. You see you can get the ISB number either from the website, or you can look on the back of the book and scan it in. Alma, either way is fine. And you'll see that there's one institution that has this one in the network zone. So again, we're going to do the same thing, order, and standing order print book. We're going to create the PO line and fill this page out just like we did before. Manual packaging, and this is on immigration, so I'm going to go ahead and do political science again for this, and then enter my renewal date, which is the 20th. Let's check everything's okay, and that looks good. So we're going to do save and continue, and then acquisitions, and we're going to package it onto a separate purchase order. Here's the U.S. National Debate topic that we just added. Create new PO. And we'll go with whatever Alma assigns it. Just verify this says 5750, and we're going to click on Save and Continue and take it out of review. Alright, so here's the 6 titles that we received for this fiscal year. And you've got the issue title, purchase order line number, and PO number. And so what we're going to do is we're going to package all of these PO lines. We're going to create an invoice, and we're going to add each of these PO lines to that invoice. And alright, and here's a copy of the invoice, and you can see I wrote all over it, but it gives you the subscription period, it gives you the total price due, and that's about it. And it gives you the invoice number here at the top. And so this is the invoice that we're going to create, 344946. And so we're going to go to Acquisitions, Create Invoice. And we're going to do it from, we're going to do it manually because we have a list of purchase order line numbers. Okay, so manually, and then we're going to click on Next. And we're going to put in the invoice number. And the vendor is going to be H.W. Wilson. The total amount is going to be $345. The invoice date is 7/21/2017. And we're going to do internal copy, and then we're going to say paid, and we're going to enter the payment amount of $345, and we need to put the vendor account in, and then we're going to do save and create invoice lines. Okay, so what happened was I got the error message that I've already created that invoice line, so we don't need to do that again. So we're going to search by invoice, and you'll see it's already in review. And we put the total price in. So let's look at the lines here. All right. So now that we have our invoice created, and you can see I created it back in January. I forgot I did that. What we're going to do is we're going to add our purchase order lines to this invoice. So we're going to go back to In Review Invoices and do Edit. And then we're going to do Invoice Line, and then we're going to do Add Invoice Line. And the first one is 360. And we're going to click Add. 361. Add. 353. Add. 362. Okay, now we're going to click Add and Close. And you're going to see the total amount here. And you want the total amount to enter the total invoice line amount. So it says 345, 345. And you also want that to match the amount that's on your invoice. So you see here it says 345. So everything matches. We're going to go ahead and save and continue. And if you put in that invoice number, hopefully it'll say closed, and it does. So that's basically the process of adding the standing order print books. And if you take a look at the invoice, I'm leaving these as waiting for manual renewal. It could be that we have to go back and change that status at some point, but for right now, I think it's okay to leave these as saying waiting for manual renewal, and it'll actually come off of the by closing the invoice, the items will come, will display on the purchase order report as being closed instead of active. So when you look at this report, these particular items will no longer say active, they'll say closed on here.